Hey, welcome back to the Pure Playbook. I'm Dr. Dustin Bosson with Dr. Nate Merhaut. We have purposely scrapped our entire outline for what this podcast was going to be on, but we've been talking about the mental pillar of the pure athlete. So what we're going to do after we've had a couple great guests in the past couple weeks talking about this topic, so it's nice and refreshing, and everybody, it's like the more we hear about the mental pillar, and it's not so much diligence and drive and all of the work through it, and you got to be tough minded and discipline. There's definitely more to that. So if you haven't seen those episodes, go ahead and listen back, and I think you'll get a good idea of the culture we're trying to bring for student athletes and their parents trying to keep up, because that's what this is all about. Everything about the Pure Athlete, which is our healthcare facility in Cottleville, which is looking at expansion, which is a lot of fun to think about. But so follow along, like the podcast, find us on social media. We're going to kind of vibe on this one and just kind of hit some things and kind of make a full loop here, because we're going to transition into, well, it's the end of April now as we're speaking on this, 2025. And so May is going to be a cutting point where we're going to segue into more about what we do here and start linking these pillars together. With that being said, the third pillar is what?
Relationships.
And we're always dropping things in keeping in mind, like the parent student athlete connection, the coach student athlete, the coach parent connection, you never know who's watching you, and how to speak and shake hands, and being cognizant of the mental aspect through relationships, and you never know who's watching. And how to get scouted, and just a lot of those things. So we're always dripping in the relationship side. We do have a plan in the future as far as, okay, you want to talk about scouting, you want to talk about tryouts, you want to talk about how, agents and agencies and social media and all of those things. We're going to make a plan and attack that from a student athlete standpoint. So stay tuned for that. But let's just kind of recap, segue, and just kind of vibe off of this one.
Yeah. As you started talking about that, I was thinking about what goes on in the practice with just me personally, with a lot of the athletes that we're seeing. And I know it happens with you as well. And it's fun to see how each individual relationship with athletes will basically grow over time and morph, and they get more open and more comfortable in here and start joking around more, and we can have a lot of fun in the office with these athletes. And as they progress through their programs, and we're giving them a lot of different new fun things to do, we can joke around with them. We can, take a couple jabs at them at times, and we have got a couple that, depending on the athlete and depending on how long they've been here and their comfortability, we can, get real fun and take real big jabs at them. And then all the other athletes start working in and taking jabs at each other, which is kind of fun. And it's neat to see even athletes from different schools, whether they've played against each other or they're just meeting for the first time in the same space, how they're interacting, how that's even just creating a fun atmosphere in the office. And that's kind of where my mind went when you started talking about that and what we're doing here in the office and what we're creating. But part of it just creates itself.
Yeah.
And we don't even have to do that, whether there's a group of athletes in here. And we even had the other day, there was, I think, one of the older ladies we see in her 70s was in here. And I said, don't go over there and start beating up on the younger athletes over there, because she was a tennis player and a very good tennis player in her day. And so it was fun to see that interaction. And she loves when we joke around with her too.
Yeah.
But just in general, that relationship that forms and develops. And that even goes into the trust within people that surround you, and having trust in the people that surround you, whether it's from a healthcare standpoint, whether it's from a coaching standpoint, whether it's from just the friends and teammates, because trust is a huge thing on a team that can make or break a team. But developing that trust and learning how to just communicate with people is key, and things that just happen naturally in this office that these athletes are getting, that whether they realize it or not, it's built into the program. So we've done that intentionally.
And if that's kind of how we want to start this sucker, I think it's I think you bring up good points, and I think to summarize that, I mean, this thing is a movement for all student athletes in order to build a community for student athletes and their parents. I'm going to say it until everybody starts to speak it. We know Where do we go? Who do we trust? How do we prevent? There's two people they don't listen to first, their coaches and their parents. It's like, okay, you guys are getting this. But truly that's what it is. And building a community, not only for these student athletes, but for these parents that they can literally trust. And so you talking about some of the dynamics. I mean, the girls who are rivals on the field, but they're in here, we're doing bulletproofing protocols. We're doing pure athlete evaluations. They're getting adjusted. We're doing urgent care. They see these girls, but they're also, we've had a couple, girls and guys also create a little bit more community and we'll intentionally connect them. Like, you should talk to her. She tore her ACL. You should talk to him. He's having hip strain issues, like, and connecting them. And then those parents connect with each other, and they might play for two separate club teams or high schools or whatever the case is. And it's so cool to watch them exchange numbers and follow each other on the gram and Snapchat and all these things. And then they start to ask more questions, or you start to hear like, hey, I was talking to them last time. And it's like, that's ultimately what this is about. It's I'm on this big Joby Martin kick. I've said it over and over again. That's pretty much all I listen to is two pastors in my life, Dr. Nate, my wife, and that's about, and ChatGPT is the other one. And so, but order. He talks about this law of one more.
Don't tell Erica.
Yeah, in that order. But it's
Erica, don't listen to this one.
She's like, that's standard. But it's kind of the idea of one more. And he talks about, his idea of one more. And it's like, we never want this. If this place is full, we're not doing it right, because we want everybody to bring their one more. Is it their one more sibling? Shout out to the Grizzles. It's like, we've got almost all of their kids under care and dad at 2 and they are loving it. But it's like, we want to continue to make room for one more. And because there is, the mental side of it, there is the relational side of it, and there is the physical side of it. So no matter where they fit in, I truly believe those 3 categories, there's a community within each of them, and there's an overarching community for that. And so it's, we can be reactive, and a lot of the healthcare side of it can be reactive. And when you're hurt, you go here. And it's great to hear that they have, we did this, doc, and unfortunately they had to have surgery, and they were great, and they were the Blues or the Cardinals or, wherever it is you live, you hear about those stories. But it's like, it's cool to get the feedback of what we're doing and the community we're creating and the friends that these athletes are making is happening here. And we get a lot of feedback on that, which is super cool.
Yeah, I did ask one of the dads for some feedback on, what does he value most with what we're doing here and what he's being provided for himself as well as his young athletes. And the number one thing he said was just literally us being a resource, or the facility itself being a resource for them that they can trust, and they know that they can come with any questions. And someone tweaks something or gets hurt, or they don't know again where to go or who to trust. But literally, that is exactly what he said.
You're getting it. You're getting it.
He's getting it. Yeah. But then literally this morning we had a call, and Sam was on the phone, and unfortunately, something happened at football practice or a game last night, and someone fractured a hand, and they did go to urgent care and got x-rays, but they weren't really trusting the opinion of who they saw there. And so they immediately called us and said, hey, we want your opinion. We want you to look at the x-rays they took. We probably want you to take your own x-rays too. And again, it just shows that they're trusting us, and we're creating and getting people to come to us, whether it is first or second, but honor and have our opinion hold a lot of value with them. The other thing, as you were talking, this is off topic to what I was just talking about, but again, back to the relationships, is we had an athlete in here, and we had a former athlete who's now a sergeant, and they both sustained a very similar injury. And the young athlete, it was her first of this injury, and it was an ankle sprain, and hers was actually a sprain with a fracture at the same time. And I literally had them both sitting on the table over here in our performance lab, and they were sitting next to each other. I was doing something fairly intense with the one, and she was kind of grimacing a little bit and having fun with it, and we were joking back and forth, and they were having a conversation back and forth and asking each other about their injuries and what was going on. And it was neat to see the older individual interact with the younger individual and just without me prompting anything, giving them confidence and talking to them and asking them, be like, listen, this is going to be okay. You're going to do awesome. You're in great hands, which she already, the younger athlete, knew that she was in great hands because she loves coming in here. But it was just cool to see that interaction with, the environment we've created, and it just naturally happened with both of them sitting there. And so there's a lot of that happens in the office, so that the community and the environment that's created here, that's what we want. And another tangent and a good example of what goes on here is Sam up front was doing some tutoring with one of our athletes. And if you want to even jump on, Sam, right now, and you can talk a little bit about it.
That one might need a brain replacement. But the tutoring is essential.
I won't steal your thunder, but yeah, Sam, jump on and we'll throw your segment in a little bit earlier. But tell us what happened and what you were doing and what the outcome was with that.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, my background is actually education. So a big part of what I do here that no one really knows, because we don't really talk about it, but I tutor some of our athletes. And so one of our older athletes came in and was like, Sam, I really need help with my college algebra, and I really need help with writing this paper.
Meanwhile, Sam's a bookworm.
Yeah, I love to learn. So this is a great place. But so we sat and he emailed me over his notes and I looked over them, and then we actually sat and he actually got some of that college algebra that he was missing. So that was cool. But he did actually just get 100 on the paper that I helped him edit and write.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that's
okay. Maybe he doesn't need a brain replacement.
Maybe with the college algebra, that was a little far fetched.
We were even stacking services in here where he comes in and he'll use the Normatec boots and do some recovery work, and then he'll have his laptop up and do some stuff. Sam will come over and do some tutoring with him at the same time. So it's not necessarily a service that we're charging for, but it's just something that's available to the athletes. And if they want to come in here and do their homework and just be in the environment because there's other athletes in here, come and do it. Jump in the boots, do your homework. Jump on social media, scroll, post something, that you're in the boots, you're getting cupped. Watch everybody else suffer in the gym while they're doing their exercises and getting adjusted and all these other things.
And for those of you calling in, trying to get a hold of us in those times, just know that I'm like, don't even answer that phone right now. Just help him. Like that's, that who is in front of us is our number one priority. Not to say anybody calling in or anybody who's not in our ecosystem is not important. Not what I'm saying at all. But just know that that's just the culture of how this place runs. And as we start looking to hire more team and we start looking at, potentially second and third locations across the state and even out of state, that's going to be the culture of those places too. Is this is an area, community for physical, mental relationships for student athletes and their parents, trying to keep up, for all the resources that you can trust. And when you don't know where to go, whether it's tutoring or a broken hand, so if we don't answer the phone, just know that we're either busy or we're busy. So we will get back to you, but it's cool to kind of have that culture, and we get a lot of grace with that. And a lot of people understand, like, man, you guys are busy and you guys do so much here. It's like, and now people are asking us to hire and we're asking us to hire. And it matters. And on the heels of this mental schedule that we have, this itinerary that we've had over April, it's like, let that kind of ring true. Think about that for a second if you're listening, and just imagine what it's been like if you're a parent for the past 10, 15, 20 years, 25, 30 years ago, as we were coming up as athletes. What did you wish you had? And really take it all in, because this is different. And I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, because I'm going to do a live video from the basis of this, but talking about what this looks like here, and that it's not conventional. It's not the status quo. We never wanted it to be. Everybody wants change, whether they know it or not, but more people are asking for it. And it's cool to have that culture, and a very unique culture where it is serious. It's not all joke. I mean, there's a bunch of bad dad jokes on my behalf, but it's not all jokes. We do take it seriously. It's at times, it doesn't look like, for some of these athletes, it doesn't look flashy. It is what we do and what we're constructing, and even the progressions we were talking about yesterday and the evaluation we've created. And there's a lot of flashy things about it. But when you get into the thick of it, when you get into the trenches, they might say, it might not be flashy, but it's 100% necessary. And people here get that. So for those of you that have been listening or looking for a facility kind of like this, Oh, it kind of goes one of two ways, one of three ways. It's like, this is awesome. We've never seen this before. Or there's a little bit of skepticism, like what's really going on over there? Or let me check with my medical doctor first.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me go off on a tangent a little bit and say, we again collaborate with a lot of people. There's a meeting we have tomorrow where they are coming here.
Right.
Orthos are coming here. And I'm not saying, look at us. It's like, no, it's like, this is our mission to provide that relationship based on a mental, where do I go? Who do I trust? Who do you guys use? We want your opinion on this hand x-ray. We want you to take your own. It's like, this is starting to happen. So here's what I want everybody to hear on all of this, no matter which pillar we're talking about or what we have or tutoring. It's literally designed for what is best for the student athlete and their parents. It has nothing to do with ego or takeover or us versus them, or we're going to be the ones to change the world. It's like, I just want to make an effect on the kingdom and lead these people to where they want and need to go, wherever, for whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And if they need surgery, just like we did with, the athlete you were talking about earlier, guess what? Instant connection, wash you, 18 hours later, boom, done, casted, plan. He called me, updated me. What do you think you do? We've got 4 weeks. Can we do it in 2? Can we check in 2, get her out of the boot? Like, we're collaborating on this thing. Don't always think, and take your mind for a second and get up above 30,000 foot view. And just because status quo says, oh, I got to go see the Cardinals doc, or I've got to go to my ortho first, or I need to go to urgent care. It's like, hang on a second. There are 100% other avenues, and we might not be the right entry for that. If you got a bone sticking out of your leg, don't come here. You can call me and ask me where to go, but I'm not trying to bring you in here. But have a little bit of grace and have a little bit of an open mind of like, do I want to continue to be reactive when it comes to healthcare for myself or my student athlete? Do I want to prevent, or do I want to watch and wait? And if those answers are no, then okay, well then you might have to find something different, and you don't need the hall pass from your primary care or your ortho or your EENT or your dentist or your principal from high school that says, yeah, you can come here. Right. And so it's really cool, because at the same time, the other version of that is, when you come here and you need to go there, guess what we're going to do? You need to go there. Let us help you go there. I think there's a lot of confusion when it comes to the non-status quo facilities, kind of like we are, that's the case. It's like, I think the instant is like, man, I don't know if I can trust them, because what if we need more and they don't send us? It's like, so I get that mindset, and there's plenty of places that might have had that reputation, and I understand that, but just truly see my heart with what I'm trying to say is, it's like, we will get anybody and everybody who walks through these doors the ultimate experience in healthcare, and you're going to get exactly what you need, whether it's here. And if we don't have the answer, can't provide it, don't know what it is, we'll just lie to you, make us sound cool. No, I'm just kidding. We will get you where you need to go. 100%.
Yeah. I like to describe it as healthcare should literally be a conversation between providers. And it's oftentimes we have a couple clients where we do have that conversation with other providers. I had one the other day where I was like, listen, you need to get this tested. If you want to get it tested through us, we're happy to do it. She's like, oh, I think I could just go on my chart and just request it. And she literally did that and got it tested the next day. And she was in here the day after, and she's like, hey, I just got that tested. And I was like, perfect. And she's like, I told my provider was like, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. Keep doing it. And we will, do anything along with them that we need to do. And so that is a perfect example of, they're trusting in what we're doing, because, mutual client is receiving care from both parties. And then, an example on the other end would be, we had someone come in just because the stereotype of what chiropractors are. She said she was getting chiropractic care and she was speaking so highly of it, and the provider did not really have a great response. And she actually put that provider in his place, which made us feel good. But it should literally be a conversation, and everybody should be open to the conversation, because every provider is different. Nobody's going to do the exact same thing.
So, not to interrupt you, but I want to get this out before I forget it, because on that scenario too, that's a perfect example of what I want people to know. This gal goes here. She ends up having to have a procedure done, which we were like, yes, go get everything checked out. Like she had the shoulder surgery replacement, that all, and we're like, came back, had some things after surgery, and we both were like, we need to take next steps like now.
Yeah.
So she ends up seeing this neurosurgeon, and he says what he says, and it's to kind of explain what you're saying and what I want people to feel out of this from our perspective is when she put him in his place, it was nothing like, yeah, you should have done that, Sue. Like, great job, high five. It's like, it just sucks that even has to happen.
Right.
If I was that guy, I'd like to think, knowing what I know, if I were in his position, and we do this with athletes and parents here, it's like, well, tell me more about what you're doing. He just might not know. But the knee jerk it's like, yeah, we're kind of foes, and and it's like, there's a lot of headbutting there, but I guess if it works, whatever, you're just going to have arthritis faster. And it's like, that's not even true.
Right.
So then, we want to bow up a little bit because we want to honor what we do, but it's not from a, show me the research and let's see where that's, a part of our hearts. It's like, yeah, listen, dude, like show me the freaking research on that is kind of what we're thinking in our one side of our brain. But in our heart is like, look, is there an opportunity to educate? Like, I'm not trying to change your worldview, but this gal is getting results, or this athlete's getting results, or this dad is getting results. And now you're like, he's totally happy with what he's doing. What happened? Why can't we just support people in that?
Right.
Like, no matter what they're doing, is it going, like, there is nothing harming them. They're only getting better. And then you're trying to provoke a different avenue that they don't even want. Just support them.
Right.
Like, what if your wife said that? What if your daughter said that? What if your sister said that? And it's just like, really? I mean, it's kind of the culture we live in. But again, with what we're trying to do here, with the pillars and what we're trying to solve, it's literally, there is more to it than, how do we prevent ACL susceptibility, tear susceptibility? Like, how do we create more evaluations? How do we become more of a urgent care? How do we see more people? It's like, how do we just provide a community environment, going back to the beginning of this? How do we provide a community, an environment for student athletes and their parents trying to keep up that they can know, love, trust, and come to with anything?
Yeah. Perfect segue into my new podcast. That is, you're calling me the quack? That's what I'm starting that podcast, and we're going to go through that, and we're going to get real dynamic. But just kidding.
Can we wear like duck suits?
Yeah.
Like, wear some feathers?
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get like the Duck Dynasty guys, and we'll open up the podcast with like our duck calls. Willie Robertson's rolling right now. He's like, that guy needs a duck call. He probably don't even know how to use it. No, but we'll let Sadie come in here and pray on this podcast. That's for sure. Oh man. Well, exciting news on the heels of this one. We are headed to STL City right now. So hope you enjoyed. A little bit off the cuff. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to head to the soccer park of St. Louis City Soccer. We'll see you next time on the Pure Playbook. See ya.